How do you connect? Because I am trained as a trance channel, there are a couple of different ways. One of the ways I make contact is through my process of entering that trance state. At this point, because I've had decades of meditation and channeling, it happens very quickly. It's almost like going into a meditative state and flipping a switch in my brain. Kind of like I tune into a radio station. I pretty much know the radio stations of Sasha and Germaine. If a new being comes, it is the same process but may take slightly longer. If I am going about in life, or if I am out in the field doing contact work, they may initiate the call. Usually it comes in the form of a huge download. I often describe the downloads using a simile. It's like a big ball of string that drops in my head and starts unwinding. Lyssa can watch the ball of string unwinding, but I have to go into that trance state to understand it more deeply. Especially when I'm doing contact work with groups and we're outside in the dark. I'll get into one of those big downloads and then go into the trance state and connect with the download and bring it through. Now, if the download is coming from a being I don't normally channel, I usually can sense it in my body. I get strange physical reactions if it's an unfamiliar energy. For example, it might be ears popping, or a sense of disorientation, or slight dizziness, or tremendous heat, different things like that. But after channeling any being a few times, I begin to recognize their energetic signature. For instance, Hamon, the Syrian ambassador. Those physical effects tell me that there's incoming energy that is deliberate. If I'm doing a private session with someone, I can make a call for that person and connect with whatever is necessary for the client. However, when they want to tell me something, they call me. It's never a case where I channel randomly like a schizophrenic. I'm always very aware of the flows and the threads of the energies and the communications, but I never lose sight of the host personality, which is the Lyssa being that's here on this world. She is the switchboard operator, basically, organizing everything. So I never go into a state of confusion about identity. I know there are some critics who say that channeling is just a form of schizophrenia. As a side note, some of these professors did brain studies of channels to actually see the brain activity as it's happening during channeling. More recently, I posted a link on the library section of my website about this. It has an episode of an American TV show hosted by a famous TV doctor called Dr. Oz. He brought on Dr. Daniel Amen, a top brain imaging scientist, who hooked up a famous medium called Teresa Caputo to a brain scanning device to do a test called a quantitative EEG. What it shows is that during channeling, the brain lights up in areas responsible for external stimuli coming in. Yeah, they have proven this. So by this point, anybody who has really seriously investigated channeling in terms of brainwaves can see there is definitely different brainwave activity that happens when people are channeling. That's a given for anyone who wants to accept it. The research is there. When they want to give me a message, they will make it very clear that a message is there. But they never interfere in my life. And that's the idea of the partnership, of working as equals in the process. Can you initiate contact? Yes. But as I tell my students, being a channel is not like being a vending machine. You cannot put money in and get the answer. Though, of course, we all wish it was like that. So instead, the beings that work with me have a perception of the bigger picture, which is much bigger than the human ego has. For instance, say I'm going through a very difficult time and having a conflict with a friend. And let's say I ask, hey guys, can you help me out with this? And let's say I perceive that I'm getting no help at all. I'm getting no advice and the situation isn't shifting. Why? I've come to learn that it's because the human Lyssa needs to have the experience and learn what she needs to learn. So in that sense, they're not interested in taking away pain and fixing reality the way our egos want it to be fixed. They are more interested in the idea of us growing and evolving to that place where our consciousness expands and we know how to navigate this reality with the least amount of conflict. We are always welcome to ask questions, but you also have to be patient for the natural progression of the situation to unfold. They will help us as much as they can. And by helping, I don't know that intervention is the correct word. I would never say they intervene. They will give me a new way of looking at something and show me how the situation was created perhaps by the way I am. Maybe if I shifted or released something within myself, that would shift the whole dynamic of the situation. So again, it goes back to the idea of helping human beings grow to become the optimal being that can be evolved here on Earth.